So what's cooking today with this crazy looking bulb of fennel? We're gonna make a frittata. And basically what I did was, I took all my favorite flavors from a fennel salad and threw in some eggs. So the first thing we need to do to attack this bulb of fennel is we're gonna cut off all these fronds. We're gonna reserve just a little bit of this for some garnish. Then we're gonna cut this into quarters. Take our knife, put it at an angle, and holding one of those quarters, gently remove the core. With the core removed, we can now dice the fennel as normal. And like I said, we need 1 cup of diced fennel. So let's set aside our diced fennel because now it's time for some red onion. We need a 1/4 cup of diced red onion. Now that our onion is diced, let's melt 1 tablespoon of butter in a small size frying pan. To our nice and melty butter, we're gonna add our onion. All right, now we're just gonna mix our onions around just a little bit to get them nicely coated with the butter, and then we're just gonna let them hang out for a bit. With our onions going, we have time to prep the rest of our ingredients for the frittata. First up, we need a teaspoon of fresh chopped parsley. Next, we need the zest of half an orange, and make sure you wash that orange before you zest it. A 1/4 cup of milk, and yes, I'm using full fat milk. Just a pinch of salt and pepper. And of course, eggs. We need 6 eggs. And now whisk it all together. We're done whisking, and we can kind of let this all hang out because it looks like it's time to add our fennel to the pan. And I'm only going to let the fennel cook for a little bit, just a couple of minutes. I want to maintain that crunchy texture and that stronger licorice flavor. The more you let the fennel cook, the more mellow the licorice flavor becomes. Fennel is looking just slightly tender, so now it's time to add in our egg mixture. And once we pour it in, we're going to gently mix it around the pan, going in from the edges. We want to make sure everything cooks evenly, but we also don't want to turn it into scrambled eggs. The eggs are just about set, so now it's time to add a few dollops of goat cheese across the top. I have 1½ ounces of goat cheese that I've broken down into just little pieces that I'll just scatter around the top. Let's get our pan underneath that broiler, and we'll leave it there until it gets nice and lightly golden and the cheese gets a little bubbly. And I'm going to keep the oven door open just a crack so I can keep an eye on things. I don't want them to burn. Whenever you broil, you should always leave your oven door open just a little bit. While our frittata's underneath the broiler, I'm going to quickly run my knife through those fennel fronds we saved earlier. It makes for a pretty garnish. We are looking awesome, golden brown, bubbly cheese. Let's get this onto a plate. One last thing, let's just garnish it up with our fennel fronds and a little bit of salt and pepper. So now it's time to eat this fennel frittata for 2. Say that 10 times fast.